So before I get started, I'm going to talk a little bit about who the prospect is. And in the United States, there are about 38 states that have energy efficiency programs. New York State has one called NYSERDA, which a lot of people may or may not have heard of, which stands for New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. These programs are typically funded by us on our utility bills. In New York, this is the SBC RPS charge. So when you're thinking about all those lines, the one that is between $2 and $5 is what you're using to fund the energy efficiency program in New York State. So any of these energy efficiency programs are a potential client for this service. And there are accreditation agencies, specifically the Building Performance Institute, which if these programs go away, this accreditation agency goes away. So they could be a potential for this service. New York State's program is suffering. It feels like it's teetering on collapse. In 2002, there were 25 contractors participating. By 2006, there were over 200. Now there's under 200. They had a high of around 7,000 projects per year. Now it's dropped back to 5,000. There's job size is diminishing also. Administrative cost is going up on the project side, and it's also going up on the contractor side. So the contractors are getting pretty discouraged. So this would be a pivot for my business, and this is the first iteration of a potential logo. Bridge to Better Results, consulting for programs, consulting for contractors. I'm not the guy that gives this presentation. I have a partner that's a RIT professor that would be presenting to NYSERDA. I'm the bad cop. Nobody at NYSERDA really wants to talk to me because I'm the guy that's creating the pain. Bureaucrats tend to have no pain because they wake up without accountability. And the end of the week, they have no accountability. So I'm the guy that's creating accountability. So the strategy is to have the good cop give the presentation of the solution to what the bad cop, the problem the bad cop is creating. If that, is anybody, have I lost everybody or? I'm with you. Okay. So Trustbridge data, Bridge to Better Results, consulting programs, consulting for contractors. Do you want to start the? You ready? Yes. So numbers matter. They matter to me. My background is economics and financial planning. So numbers are really, and that's the way I think. I'm a little bit maybe Osbergen. So what we find in these programs is there are good sounding numbers, and then there are important numbers. And the good sounding numbers are we saved more energy this year than we did last year. And that's great for the PR department, but it's kind of hard to sink your teeth into. Savings referenced to what was promised is what I think most people are interested in. If somebody makes you a promise of savings, you want to know how much. Just saving energy without any reference is kind of meaningless. So who wants savings without qualification, and who wants savings they can count on? I do energy efficiency work. In 2008, I got out of the financial planning business because I'm a little bit of an environmentalist as well as economist and now an activist. So I've done this work. I'm recognized as an expert in the field. Ann Peterson refers to me as her local energy guru. People are using my tools in their webinars. I actually happened upon this webinar, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks familiar. So I did a screenshot. And this slide probably should be someplace else, but a lot of people use all of these fallacies for justification for failure. There are a lot of arguments that savings aren't predictable, and I think that if you can fall into an argument where you didn't land on the head of a pin, and therefore your projection failed. And it's my opinion that if you land on the green, you've succeeded. And really, who decides what success is? The consumer decides. So I've found that consumers are very satisfied if they're within 10% and or $100 a year of your predictions. That's a number that you can sink your teeth into. Results are predictable. How do I know? When they write the final check, that is not my last interaction with the clients. I call and get feedback. And I actually track results and publish. So this client saved 36% after a year, and they actually saved about $150 more than we predicted. So I've made some adjustments to the way we do modeling, and it's an iterative process where your variance gets narrower and narrower as you get feedback and better understanding of the details. So this is NYSERDA's goal statement, and basically it's somewhat unclear, but the primary goal is to create a market-based system of supply and demand that supports the renovation of existing homes toward greater energy efficiency. This is house as a system approach. And really what they want to do is be able to have this market transformation occur that will allow contractors to go from selling products to selling solutions. Peter Drucker, what gets measured gets managed. What you measure matters, and what you don't measure matters. And programs are providing no actionable feedback on performance to contractors. And they're not providing informative feedback to consumers. This is a trust problem in the marketplace. Consumers don't believe that they can actually get the energy savings that they're promised. They feel that any promise of energy savings is likely a lie. So there's no meaningful feedback data for contractors or homeowners, so there's no trust or understanding anywhere in this space. And contractors do not track results. Yet NYSERDA program has implicit and explicit promise of results in all of its reporting and all of its language. In fact, in the application, it says homeowner agrees to give NYSERDA the right to get 2 years before and 2 years after data, which implies to both the contractor and the homeowner that somebody is tracking results. Homeowners rarely track results. It's really complicated. NYSERDA implies tracking. All of these results are hard to find, and consumers are justifiably wary of promises. So I started looking for numbers. 35 to 65% of promised savings show up across NYSERDA's data set, and they've done 50,000 projects in the last 10 years with a savings promise of around $700 each. So this is a huge amount of money promised on an annual basis to consumers that's not being delivered. New York's not alone. Turns out Vermont realization study, 86% electric, 51% other being natural gas, oil, propane. Wisconsin realization study, 54-44, mass save, 47-76. That sounds bad. I'm thinking somebody should fix this because I've drank the Kool-Aid. Home performance works. It works for my clients, so it should be working for everybody. If I had an hour to save the world, I'd spend 55 minutes understanding the problem, Einstein. So I kept digging because I really wanted to get an understanding of this problem before I came up with some ideas for solutions. I did a Freedom of Information request on the NYSERDA data. This is an eye test. There are lots of ways to slice the data. I played with it and looked at it. Eye test over. Let's turn this data into information. So this is the truth. The program's under-delivering. Contractors are under-delivering. And this is a sort by contractor. So suddenly I'm looking at these numbers and I'm saying, oh, I can sort performance across various metrics by contractor. If NYSERDA's not going to help me, maybe I can go straight to the contractor and help the contractor do better work. So that's yet a third opportunity for this service. So this is promised, this is delivered, promised, delivered, promised, delivered. See a problem here? The other thing is, if I publish this, you going to do any work with these contractors down here? So, Isaacs, Halco, who are you going to hire? Suddenly, this is ranking. And if I go to Isaac with this, guess what they say? Holy cow, we got to fix that. Measurements are powerful. There's clear and rapid improvement at startup if you measure and keep these feedback loops. This is 3 programs amalgamated over each other. They all did measurement and verification at the beginning. And at the beginning, there was rapid improvement in results. They did continuous improvement during the mastery phase. And then at this point, they decided that they would just do sampling, random sampling, as opposed to measurement and verification on every project. Look what happened. So NYSERDA never did this. This is where we are. And what I would think we should do is go from here to here. Where's our money going? This is, if you have a furnace replaced through the home performance program, this is how much the administration costs. Not what you pay for the furnace. This is what the program costs. So the program for that furnace costs more than the furnace. And the evaluation and data collection that does not include dissemination of this data is this tiny piece here. So measuring is important. Let's take our program from red to yellow then green. Where to spend the money? Let's devote a budget to tracking and sharing results. We know that transparency will help the program, the contractor, and ultimately, of course, the homeowners. Trustbridge intends to drive results through transparency. By partnering with Trustbridge, NYSERDA will show that it's being proactive. If they do not partner with Trustbridge, it may be a problem, because we are going to do this no matter who joins us. Any questions? So primarily this is me, but I have a bunch of partners and friends that are helping with this.
Who are you talking to?
You are NYSERDA, or you're Vermont, or you're Mass Save, or you are the Building Performance Institute. They know I'm doing this already.
I got hung up at the beginning. Second time I hung up.
Sorry.
I had trouble with that bridge logo.
Okay.
The original.
The Trustbridge first slide or whatever that's the slide is. The bridge.
So that's the first iteration of the logo, and I don't like it all that much either.
I think it's very pretty,
Yeah.
but I think if it's symbolic.
It goes nowhere. It's a bridge to nowhere.
Nowhere goes nowhere.
That's.
I don't trust that bridge.
I'm thrilled you said that, because that's the email I wrote my design guy last night, and now I can tell him that that's.
What you might do is send back to him, like the right-hand side of the bridge kind of breaking off.
Yeah, right. Right. I need it to. What I want is the bridge where it comes together being either hands like this or hands shaking. So that was, but I don't know if you can do that.
Connect the dots, guys. Connect the dots, and see where you get. Yeah, it's a bridge that goes from nowhere to
Yeah.
nowhere. Yeah.
Did that hang you up, or were you able to get beyond it?
No, I couldn't get beyond it.
Okay. Do you want me to go through it again so that you can see the rest of it?
No, what I'm talking about. I mean, I think later I did very well, but pointing to measurement, getting good use of measurement, getting people to do what they have been doing. By the way, I was a customer of Isaac for the assessment, and it's gone nowhere. So, but
There are a lot of, and I could get lost in the weeds, but NYSERDA has made a lot of reactionary changes that have just driven the quality out of the program, and that's not Isaac's. I'm friends with the guy that runs the home performance program at Isaac, so.
think it's an excellent chart. It took me a while to get this chart, but you come with something just speaking about measurement and tracking and the difference. That's a very good chart.
I think this is the whole thing. If you measure and report back, then people understand where they did things well and where they did things poorly, and you get quality bubbling up. And if we rank publicly with the contractors, there's serious incentive beyond just the fact that they're going to see it. It's a public opportunity.
Yes, Doug, now knowing who you are, can you feel, or can you provide some response there as to how it appealed to you, even though you didn't know who you were?
So if you're talking to me, it's a hell of a mirror you're holding up to me. How poorly things have happened here.
Yeah, I'm not the guy to present this because I'm already positioned as bad cop.
But the problem is an opportunity, though, right? So you're talking about the opportunity to turn this around and get some good tracking.
And these are all numbers that they have. All these numbers are right here.
They're not looking at that because they don't want to look at it.
Why don't they want to look at it?
Because it's work.
Understand?
Or no passion, they don't care. It's like, look at, I just am here to get my 6 figures and this big pension. If there's no incentive, if there's no recognition for excellence or accountability, there's only risk. What you see in this industry is when they don't track results, it drives quality out because quality ends up being competitive disadvantage. If we were to change to this, quality becomes competitive advantage because these guys down here, this is the delivered guys, end up having very quick trust at the consumer level.
How about you?
Oh, I found it a very interesting presentation. Couple things. I was one of the very, very first Energy Star customers in New York State.
Okay.
When there was one auditor in Rochester and one in Utica. That's how far back.
Wow.
I've also raised significant investment from NYSERDA for different companies. So I've had a fair amount of dealings with NYSERDA. So I want to
Let's distinguish between the research and development guys, which are rocket scientists in my mind.
but they were funding programs with the same organization.
Right.
I thought this presentation would be wonderful for a TED
Talk.
talk.
Okay.
You're raising a flag, here's what it is.
Does everybody know what 10 is? Not this 10.
Interesting talks under 8 minutes about all kinds of topics.
Kind of like a white paper in a talk form.
Very, very entertaining and educational.
Go ahead.
You're an industry watchdog, essentially. Okay? You're out there saying, look, you have these numbers, here's what they look like. I'm concerned, you should be concerned, everybody should be concerned.
And it's a wonderful opportunity that's being missed.
But I think, in the guise of a consulting environment, I didn't get any kind of a consulting picture. I would think that because of the mirror that you are holding up, some people in your audience are going to be very offended. So you have to be very careful how you present information like this. And making blanket statements of, well, he just lays it here and doing it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It may or may not be the case. I think if you peel back the onion, you may find out that they're just understaffed or whatever. If that's the case, You're calling them stupid, you're calling their baby ugly, and everything else. And I mean, people
Right.
are very offended by that. So I would temper that message as you speak.
I'm not going to present because I can't get out of that. I have to stay in that role, or else I can't be bad. I can't shift. I can't make that shift, unfortunately.
You're obviously a teacher for Google Glass. That's nice. I have no idea why you're wearing it, other than it's a fashion statement.
Because I won't remember a thing, and I'm recording the whole event.
And then you should have made some statement.
Sorry about that.
Beforehand,
Yeah.
because I'm sure there were people sitting here in the room saying, "What in the world is he wearing?" You know, if you don't know what it is.
I'll privately share this with you, and then you can share it with anybody who wants to see it,
What's that?
the recording.
Oh.
So you should. I mean, you show them what's asked permission.
Yes.
Of course.
Not a great presenter. I apologize for that, everybody. I flaked it.
So, interesting presentation. I like the thought. I like the passion and all that. As far as trying to close business with NYSERDA, you just pissed me off, and you were never going to do business with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, so do they hire us to do this for all the contractors? Or do I just take these random guys and send, hey guys, 3 contractors, one of them's you. Do you want to know which one you are? Because your competitors do.
Well, it comes back to what business you want to be. Okay, if you want to be consulting to the state agencies that are overseeing types of programs, then you're going to be in the data analytics business. Okay, and by collecting data and analyzing it and building up that knowledge base, you now have something that's very powerful and very valuable to sell to contractors.
Yeah.
It's a score sheet. They may want to know where they fit the score sheet.
So when I take
But it's, again, you're dealing with
when I take this to contractors,
private information. You need to treat this with privacy and whatever. So you can show them where they are in the rank, but you shouldn't necessarily tell them who's above them and below.
this is public information. So I'm going to show this contractor's data set and this contractor's data set and this contractor's data set to anybody that wants to pay for it. And let them, because what I found is certain contractors will say, so if I do a ranking in this set and a ranking in this set, the contractors will look at both sets, they'll see where they're good, and they'll be like, oh, I can use this with the homeowner.
There is somebody doing that concept. It's called Smith Travel Research. They do it with hotels. And I think that's a great model to work off of, Smith Travel Research.
Well, it's also J.D. Powers for home performance.
Okay, well, I'm
That's
just
not true.
throwing that out there for whatever it's worth.
That's helpful.
I think if you do it in the wrong way, you'll get lots of phone calls, but they'll all be from attorneys.
Right.
And even remember, even if they don't win, they still can tie you up and have you spending money until you give up.
Right.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
And I want to get back to the issue of pain. Does NYSERDA feel the pain that its credibility is perhaps been diminished? Is that a...
Well, the CEO got fired.
Okay.
So now I think the new CEO probably wants to, it might be a good time.
Okay, so here's a possibility. You can produce hard evidence that you know how to do this properly. Try,
The work.
do the analysis, prescribe the work, have the work done, and then do the follow-up assessment so that it's actually done properly. What if you proposed as a business certifying contractors, training and certifying contractors to do the business properly, then NYSERDA would provide that as a type of certification under NYSERDA, so that there would then be people certified to carry out their mission successfully, assuming that they went, you know.
In order to participate in this program, you have to have at least 2 BPI certifications
Your program,
and be accredited. That's what BPI does.
you would be the program.
That's what BPI does. Building Performance Institute is that accreditation agency that tells this is how it should be done. And there are some pieces that are missing to that, and I'm talking to BPI about filling those holes. They need to have a sales component. They need to have a improvement design component. So I'm having those discussions with the guy that sets up their programs.
So you could actually then be a consultant to BPI.
That's right.
And then BPI in turn would be the agency that performs the certification. But that, it seems to me, that's where the business opportunity is, because NYSERDA obviously had pain if they had to get rid of their CEO. The pain is, how do we get people to be doing this properly?
Let's get back to talking Jim.
The risk here is anybody with a BI tool, business intelligence tool, can suck in a data set and produce, in a half an hour can be producing charts like this. I mean, it's fairly straightforward. It's not rocket science. It's a little more difficult if you're doing it with a spreadsheet, but nowadays the tools that are available, I mean, analyzing data this is not a big data set. You're talking about big data. I think you got to figure out what your service is. And you're the scorekeeper. Well, you know what? You don't have the people or resources to go do this. Let us go do this. We'll be your scorekeeper for it. So now you can report back to NYSERDA can report back to the contractors and how they're doing against their peers.
Right.
You can report back to your customers, end users, so that they know how they're doing it, or survey them or whatever, and give them more of the participation. So you're getting the value for the intention of the program. That's a very different message. I enjoyed the talk. It was very informative.
Thank you. So this is monetizable, because if you can go to somebody that can afford $75 a month worth of repairs, and you're able to figure out how to turn that into a $125 a month project because you can fold the energy savings in, your likelihood of a happy customer increases geometrically, and they love the fact that they're leveraging their money. But the $50 has to show up. Anybody else have questions? Oh.
I'll just make a comment. Because I see in you something I see in myself. But whenever I discover something, I get great joy out of it. And a lot of times people don't share that enjoyment
Yeah.
that I have, and I don't know if you feel the same way I think you do. And you really have to watch that when you go in and try in a selling mode to get people to come along with you, especially when there's things they might prefer to hide. So you have a lot of dynamics going on there in this kind of a case. So,
Yeah.
so my suggestion is Mary Poppins. Spoonful of sugar, mix some medicine.
Oh. That's Hittinger's job, because I'll have him present this, and he'll do it. And he's a nice guy. He's
Maybe that's the point. That is your sales pitch.
yeah.
I mean, these graphs, to me, are misleading from the standpoint of promised by whoever is buying. What's the threshold? There should be a red line, some horizontal line that says, anything above here have achieved by.
So I've got lots of different charts, but in order for this, Everybody that I talk to is like, no, you got to take that chart out, you got to take that chart out, you got to take that chart out. So,
What I'm saying though, is what, if a line across here saying
okay,
these people can survive or can't survive or something like that. Good, they're okay.
this is really great air sealing. So these guys do really great air sealing work. These guys over here probably don't do that much, and I didn't squeeze out the small projects, and there's reasons people could potentially be lying about their test out numbers or their test in numbers, so I have less and less confidence as I get up here. But these guys do really great work, and these guys would want to get better if they knew they were down there.
But it looks like Ted, it looks like Isaac, who's down on the left there, right? Looks like they promised nothing and they deliver nothing.
Okay, so no, this is a sort by promise from highest to lowest. So Isaac might be anywhere in here in their promise, and then this is where they deliver. And then I have another chart that shows 100%. Some of these guys are delivering 20% on promise, and some are delivering 90% on promise. So do you want?
Delivering 120% on promise.
Yeah.
That's my point. If you have a line.
Yes.
First got a goal that says, you know what, we think you should achieve a 30% savings. Draw your red line. Okay. Well, you know what? Most of the contractors are delivering 30% savings. Okay. Or they aren't. You know, maybe or only 10% are delivering. You got to have the red line.
Yeah, my red line is what were you promised? How close did you get to what your promise was?
Anyways.
Greg.
Back up to the last chart for a second, please. Okay. What y'all don't know about me is I'm an analytical chemist by training, so I've seen lots of charts and graphs. First of all, even now clear as to what we were as the audience, this is way too damn much information for 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Way too much. And it's some total of what you presented. Because like earlier, you aren't on a given slide long enough to figure out what the hell you're talking about. So you've lost me early on.
Right here, what are these charts?
Anyway, I'm trying to keep up with you.
Okay.
And as far as charts like this, simple line graphs, one superimposed over the other. Because what I don't know if I'm sitting in the back of the room is that vertical graph, is that vertical chart the same? Are my scales the same? That's the word I'm wanting. Are the scales the same? So give me one chart, just a line chart. You have all the same data points, but I can clearly see the message that you're trying to get. This is what was promised. This is what was delivered. Folks, we got a problem. It's a lot clearer. I don't have, if you have contractors' names on there, you just set yourself up for libel suit.
These are not my
It
numbers.
does make a difference. If you've got a lawyer or somebody that's litigious in your group, somebody at NYSERDA gets their nose bent out of shape, the next phone call you're going to get is, it's not going to be a phone call you want. So there's, like Jim said, you got to be careful about your audience and how you present the information in a way that draws them in. He said, okay, yeah, we got a problem. How do I fix it? How can you help me fix my problem?
So part of this is there are people in my industry that have been sued by deep pockets. That is a wonderful marketing opportunity. Now I just have made myself very famous.
You want them to be sued, not you.
No, I want to be sued. Because when you get
An LLC right now.
this is an LLC and Trustbridge will be an LLC. But so what happens is you get a David and Goliath thing, and media goes nuts over it.
Having been on the end of the lawsuit, it ain't fun. I don't care what you think the outcome is going to be. And as this society has become more litigious than ever, you have to do some safeguarding. So eliminate the contractors' names, give me simple bar graphs, and cut the information back. And one other thing, are you comfortable walking into a room dressed like you are and presenting this information?
I'm not going to present it.
But even in a given presentation, I would suggest that you don't necessarily have to come in with a shirt and tie, but come in with something that's a little more conservative, dark blue suit, dark gray suit, pants, sport coat, something that immediately gives a visual representation of credibility. I look at you as you're tired, and there are some people in my sphere of influence that would say, who the hell is this guy? Why should I listen to him? And it's not the message I think you want to promote.
I want to comment on the idea about litigious or being in a lawsuit. Would you rather be in the lawsuit and spending all of your time for a long period of time addressing the lawsuit versus forwarding your cause? So I'll leave it there. And secondly, the thing was brought up a little earlier, and that is if you're presenting to NYSERDA with the hope of them acting on your information and suggestions, you said a spoonful of sugar. Well, let's take it a little further. What is driving them? What is their pain? Just because they lost their CEO indicates something, but
It's very hard to.
Or is it something else? So the research should go around that you should be doing. What's going on in NYSERDA, and how can I help? Versus just punch them in the nose, tell them, hey, the things are all screwed up. In terms of customer pain, customer need.
Do you have a sense of what their pain might be?
I don't know.
No, it's been a few years since I've dealt with it.
So anyhow, that's
Okay.
my point. Is try to get on the customer's side of it, the client's side of it, and understand what the hell they're dealing with and what's the problem in their minds, and then work with that. And yeah, eventually you can use your data and use your cause and passion, but trying to help them come out of it rather than being a watchdog.
Yeah.
I can see the second guy coming along, doing exactly what you're doing, getting the business.
Right.
Because
I just want it solved.
Yeah, but you're not going to do it.
very good.
Oh, by the way, I showed this to Isaac. They no longer subcontract their air sailing. Yeah. So this stuff actually causes reaction. It's cool.
Good stuff in your presentation, by the way.
Thanks.
Well, it's value there. People are willing to pay for it.
Okay, evaluation is complete. Okay,